As you guys know, I've been pretty inconsistent with uploading lately, and one of the hardest parts is finding teams that actually really interest me, or ideas to build around that are not completely just done over by everyone else. That's not to say I'm above using other people's rentals, but it can get kind of boring when all of the content is other people's teams. So today, I want to try and challenge myself, and for the next several videos, barring very unique instances like where I cover Wolf's team that ended up winning at the last regional, I'm going to try and build a lot of teams around stuff that my friends give me ideas for. And the first one is going to be none other than a suggestion brought by my good pal T-Riches, who suggested I build a team around Emboar, one of a very unique set of Pokemon that entered this list. Somehow it's still one of the best ideas, and if you are looking forward to seeing some of these very batshit ideas that my friends have come up with, leave a like on today's video and subscribe for more content like this, as I'm going to be bringing you guys a lot more frequent VGC content in the future. And with that said though, let's start off with the star of our show being none other than Emboar. Now I think this is actually a really good set for the particular team we built, which is a nice Tail Room team, but the Tailwind and Trick Room setters might not be what you're anticipating. With this Stellar Emboar with Assault Vest, this proves to be a very bulky Pokemon that can take hits from a lot of other special attackers, such as Torkoal especially, and with the Stellar Tera type, we actually take advantage of Emboar's wide move pool of Heat Crash, Drain Punch, Wild Charge, and high horsepower that hits very well into a lot of different teams. This set in particular should creep all the way up to specifically, I believe it's for Iron Bundle, if it does switch out of the Boost Energy boost, as it was only 8 more EVs over creeping stuff like Fluttermane and Pow, so I kind of figured why not, as we might particularly find a Specs bundle, let's say on a Snow team, or even just a special attack boosting bundle. There's a lot of different things that we can fight with this thing. And overall, it just proves to be a very obnoxious wall breaker, especially with later additions in the team. Next up though, we do have another starter Pokemon being none other than Rillaboom, which would help a lot with the ground weakness that Emboar would provide, and with Fake Out, Grassy Glide, Wood Hammer, and U-Turn, this proves to be a very annoying pivot that can still deal a lot of damage with the Terra Grass. A lot of other components of this team will benefit a lot from Rillaboom's presence, and it does benefit a lot from our later picks in the team that will help enable our damage control as much as possible. And with our next Pokemon, we find a very unique Tailwind setter that hasn't seen prevalence in a while, but I think with this particular team, it was always the best choice, being none other than our Eviolite Murkrow with Terra Ghost. Now this particular Murkrow actually helps with a very big issue I was facing with this team, which is specifically Terra Fairy Archaludon. I wasn't throwing Landorus and Cardinal on the team. Frankly, I hate the Pokemon a lot right now because another team I tried to build was banking off of Landorus Incarnate, and I kept losing and losing and losing and losing, and I don't want to talk about it. You guys saw it if you saw the members video. I hate the Pokemon right now. I'm still very much against using it despite how good it is. So because of this, unironically, the second best way I could think of was a Prankster Haze Pokemon. And with Murkrow, this fixes my issue while giving a nice Tailwind speed tier to my team, which benefits a lot of Pokemon, mostly though these first two on the team. With Quash as well, I can get some nice options in case I have a speed disadvantage to still give Emboar a great way to break through opponents. And with Taunt, it's just great at stopping other opponents since I don't really benefit from any offensive moves besides Foul Play, which even still, there's not a lot of Pokemon that take a ton of damage for it because all the best physical attackers resist it right now. Overall, this Murkrow is great and it should prove to be a really nice presence, but in case I don't really feel like using Tailwind, I still have a phenomenal Trick Room setter with Farigiraf. This set in particular uses safety goggles with Terra Fairy, as it's a great way to stop opponents from stopping my team in Trick Room, because my Farig will be completely immune to any sort of Spore from Amoonguss, and with Psychic Noise I can outright start walling it 100%. With Dazzling Gleam as well, this helps a lot with different dark types, as this format has plenty of viable ones, which is just great to try and fish to maybe either make Farig take a hit, or to just stop another Pokemon such as Emboar and Rillaboom from taking one. And with our Fizz Def overall, this should help with a lot of common offensive Pokemon like Rillaboom, or Shifu, and Qianpao, and many other prolific options. Terra Fairy is definitely the best defensive type on this, and it helps a lot with the Dark Weakness yet again, so I'm looking forward to the Farig here. Finally, for our last two Pokemon, we have a very unique core that is totally not going to be plagiarized by any other particular team. Totally unique with Farigiraf, and yeah, we threw on Terra Ghost to focus as Qianpao. Objectively, it was always making its way into this team. It's great with Rillaboom and Farig. There's literally several teams that use this Pokemon on it with this specific set, and I think this particular Qianpao will benefit a lot with my Emboar because with the Stellar typing, it's going to be a great damage booster to boost this even further. It's also a great partner with Miracle Seed Rillaboom. It's a great partner at stopping a lot of Pokemon that stop Farigiraf, and with Terra Ghost, I can get around any sort of Fake Out users such as Rillaboom and Incineroar that might break through my Focus Sash. Max speed, just because I didn't really want to mess around on the ladder with this particular set. It be for Stellar Life Orb, I would have went Adamant, but but at this particular set, I didn't want to mess around with speed tiers. Finally, though, we do have a Dragonite with Inner Focus. Again, very original partner for Farig, Champao, Rillaboom teams. But this actually is really decent. It's a nice unique breaker from Emboar, and it can help a lot with the Dragon type issue that we currently face, especially in tandem with Pao. And with Terra Normal E-Speed, it gives us a strong priority option that isn't Entei or Harkonine, both of which would just be repetitive fire types for the team that are also physical wall breakers. So I think it should be a lot more unique of a presence than the two of them. And again, it's one of those instances where, while I don't think a Dragonite is the best Terra Normal E-Speed PAL partner right now with Choice Band, it's the best one for the team. The round code's going to be on screen here, as well as with the team in the description below if you want to try it out yourselves. I think it came out pretty nice, and it's a fairly unique team in my opinion, despite the fact that there's a lot of repetitive options on it. I think the way that the team plays is very different from a lot of other Farig, PAL, D-Knight, Rillaboom teams. So with that said, I will see you guys in the matches. Until then, peace out. Alright, so we have a pretty decent matchup here with the Emboar. Sadly, this is somehow one of the most viable teams you guys are going to be seeing in terms of more recent videos. So I'm very sorry if you're a fan of the really like meta teams. We have a lot of bat shit that was recommended. And Emboar is somehow one of the most normal Pokemon I was given. Not the most normal one. I actually got recommended Urshifu and Pult down the line. But it's somehow up in the top set of Pokemon, which is shocking. For now, we're taking on a solid Trick Room team, actually. I think my lead is unironically going to be Pao Emboar. I feel like, actually, no, it's going to be Pao D-Knight. Pao D-Knight, I think, matches up slightly better. I don't think they'll lead Flutter necessarily. We're going to backline Emboar, though, and then I think Rillaboom or Farig could be a nice mon for. I'm going to lean towards Rillaboom. I think it's a nice check offensively to their team. I don't think that bringing Farig gets me a lot of mileage here. If they had a D-Knight, I would. But with only PAL for priority, I'm not really huge on it. And I don't really think I need to imprison their own Trick Room because it benefits my Emboar a lot. And I have ways of really just gunning down the Ursaluna here. So I'm not too concerned with it. They're going to lead off with Fluttermane and Ogerpon. Oh my, that is not a good lead for us. Thankfully, it's not the worst. As long as they're not booster speed, I should be pretty easy to manage this. Okay, so it looks like they're probably Sash or Specs. Which I'm going to Icicle Crash the Fluttermane as I'm expecting Terra here. And then meanwhile, I'm going to go for a Terra Normal, and I'm going to go for an Outrage. Am I going to go for Outrage? I feel like I kind of have to go for Outrage. Yeah, I do kind of have to go for Outrage, and I just need to hope it hits the Ogerpon here. Either that or the Fluttermane maybe goes for a defensive Terra type. I don't know. I mean, realistically, maybe it's Terra Grass Flutter. I'm going to assume it's Fairy. I'm going to hope it's grass or like water or something. I know Wolf brought a Terra Grass one recently. This isn't his team, but I mean, maybe someone adapted it on their team. Technically, I mean, in practice, making sure that the team could do fine on ladder, I thought Terra Ghost Harkonine, so I don't really know what in-game Terra to believe is coming anymore. Doesn't look like either of their Pokemon Terra'd though, because my Dragonite Terra'd first, which means that maybe a really slow Ogerpon did. Actually, no, never mind. My Dragonite's actually really slow. On this team, I think we only hit like 114 on this team. Yeah, we only hit 114, so neither of them on Terra'd. Okay, that's fine. Their Fluttermane is definitely fairly bulky though, and thankfully they're going for Icy Wind here. I'm really okay with that actually, because no matter what, the Ogerpon is either going to kill Powit and then they're potentially taking an Outrage here, or they're going to go for D-Knight, which is a resisted hit. They're going to go for Pow. Okay, that's perfectly fine. We'll still get off a really sizable hit, hopefully into the Ogerpon. If we hit Fluttermane, okay, thank God, we hit the Ogerpon still. So that's going to be a solid trade. They're pretty much dead. Meanwhile, I still do have Rillaboom here, which can actually get off an incredible attack this turn. I'm going to glide right into their Fluttermane and then go for Outrage. If my opponent tries to protect around it, so be it. I think the Ogerpon might protect. I don't know if Fluttermane will. But even if the Fluttermane does protect, I can still potentially Outrage into the Ogerpon and pick it off. I can't really do that into Flutter, so I'm going to kind of just hope and pray. Even still, I can honestly just keep clicking Glide plus Outrage until either my D-Knight dies or until they lose both their Pokemon. So there's not really a reason to avoid clicking this combination of moves. I can't comfortably switch out into my Emboar either, because Emboar is just going to have to take an Ivy Cudgel here. So this is kind of a sequence that I need to make with specifically these two Pokemon on the field. And if I lose something, I lose something. But I'm going to kind of just hope that I don't. They'll withdraw Fluttermane here. That's fine. They're going to probably bring in the Chi-Yu if I had to guess. I'm not too sure, but I feel like Chi-Yu is the mon you bring in here. They're going to bring in Farig. Okay. So Farig is actually probably the best thing they could have brought in here. Really good call, because I can't Glide that anymore. They're going to have to get off a really strong Ivy Cudgel. However, that didn't kill, which is great, because I can just Outrage into whatever Pokemon I need to. And that's going to deal a ton of damage to Farigiraf. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's actually really fine. I'll go for a, I'm going to go for another Outrage here, and then I'm going to go for a U-turn, actually, into the Ogerpon. I think U-turning into Ogerpon is probably my safest play here. I can't glide anyway, and I feel like trying to pivot out around this will be really strong for us, because then I could bring back in Rillaboom to go for a Woodhammer more safely into their team. So I think I'll do that, and I'm going to kind of hope that I can live until the end of the turn. It does not look like I will, unfortunately. But that's fine, because realistically their Farig isn't a huge problem for my team anyway. The Ogerpon is a lot scarier for us, so I'm kind of fine with this. If they get up Trick Room here, great. My Emboar's in a good position here. And if not, that's fine too. But realistically, so they have Flutter Mane that's pretty weak. They have a Farig that took a lot of damage. And we have Emboar plus Rillaboom here. They're gonna deal some good damage, but if they're going for like a Psychic Noise or a Dazzling Gleam here, it will not kill us, thankfully, which is good. But Emboar will potentially have to take some damage. They're gonna go for Trick Room. Okay, Trick Room is very fine. I'm gonna just go completely batshit attacking into the Ursaluna here, since it does look like they brought that. Thankfully, my Rillaboom should be able to massacre that with Woodhammer, so I'm pretty fine with that. And then meanwhile, I can also just go for Fighting Stab into it, because again, my Emboar is fairly beefy with the Assault Vest. I mean, they'll have to Earth Power Raw to actually take us out, which is great. We'll go for a Drain Punch right into Ursa, and then I'm gonna actually go for a Woodhammer into the Farig. I do kind of want that Mon dead, just because it'll allow us more priority in future turns, and getting Glide instead of having to Woodhammer through Ursaluna will be a little more valuable, especially seeing as they will probably go for Terra Normal this turn to try and boost their Throat Spray Hyper Voice, which works out really well for me. Especially because my Emboar will still deal super effective damage to that, and if they're pursuing spread damage here, that's just better for my Emboar, because they'll have to dual target it, which I don't know if they will. Unfortunately, my Emboar will definitely be the third fastest Pokemon on the field right now. Both their Farig and Blood Moon will definitely underpace us, so there's a real chance I might have to take that 2-hit combination, but I'm going to kind of just hope that I get lucky here. Maybe they don't go for an optimal attack here, like they go for Hyper Voice trying to plan on the boost, which means that I have an 80 Emboar that can actually start steamrolling them because of the Trick Room they set, but really, who knows? Who knows? If I take out Farig, though, I can maybe potentially Glide. They're going to go straight for the Blood Moon. Okay, that's interesting. They're going to go into the Rillaboom spot. Now, that might actually be pretty decent for me, because if I can manage the kill on the Ursaluna, there's a serious chance I can take that out this turn, and then I'm not too scared of the Farig meanwhile. It does have Psychic, sure, but I can muscle this. This is a very muscleable Pokemon. Like, it does 120, but I can definitely gain enough health back. We do not kill. Okay, never mind. Emboar is kind of weak. But you know what? That's fine. We're going to start off the video 0-1, but I think at the very least we've gotten a grasp for kind of how we need to play this team around Trick Room, and I think we're going to be kind of set up for future matches. We've definitely lost in our first set, though, which is a little bit sad, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. So they're going to go for Earth Power here. That probably won't kill. No, it does kill. Okay, unfortunate. It is what it is. We'll see you guys in our second match of the day, where hopefully we can get a win with the Stellar Emboar. All right, game number 2, we're going to be taking on a fairly interesting team, but it's okay because ours is also fairly interesting. The Emboar matchup looks really good here, but the Screamtail and Dragonite combination will be kind of a problem. I do also need to be very careful about the Annihilate here, as Annihilate could be kind of scary. And I think, in general, the Farig has an incredible matchup. Farig should do a lot against this team, especially in tandem with most likely a Rillaboom lead. I am a little bit concerned about the Scizor, but at the same time, if I have to trade Rillaboom for Scizor, I'm kind of okay with it. Rillaboom is more so here, hopefully to catch the Screamtail on lead, or even just to get off a really strong Woodhammer early on. And depending on the lead, I might just use it to U-turn out into Emboar, because that could also get us a lot of mileage. I think for my final Pokemon, we're going to probably bring the Chiempao, mostly just as a damage enabler yet again. Just like with the last time, I feel like the best way to use the Emboar is with Stellar Tera plus the POW, and that should hopefully be able to get us some actual results for once. So we're going to have to see. I can't lie, the Tail Dragonite combination is a little bit concerning. I don't think this team has a great line into it, but it's so unconventional that I think I might be able to get away with it. And who knows, maybe they won't bring both. They've already brought the Dual Fairy. Not a great start for us, but at the very least, this is a very free lead for Rillaboom. Despite the fact that the Flutter Mane is kind of annoying here, I can definitely just get off a really good attack immediately, seeing as this is booster energy. So what I'll probably do is, it's booster special attack. Okay, so that's a little bit concerning, I can't lie. But it's okay. We're gonna go for Trick Room here. And then I'm going to go for a Tera Grassy Glide. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get the Stellar Tera off, but I think that the damage getting off into the Flutter Mane here is much more important. If they go for Protect, I'm kind of fine with it. They are Booster though, so I don't really know if they are. I think instead they're going to probably go for some sort of Helping Hand plus Moonblast combination to stop my Trick Room. Or maybe, I don't know, I think Screamtail gets imprisoned? I don't actually remember. Regardless though, I'm kind of fine with this. The Grassy Glide hopefully will be able to just pick off the Flutter Mane, as this is a very high damage attack. Perfect, okay. So their Flutter Mane is already gone. That is a very huge turn 1 for us, because Flutter Mane could have stopped that Trick Room immediately. They're going for Howl. I think they're misusing the move, but I'm kind of fine with it. We need all the advantage we can get with the team that we have. While we have good pieces to it, it's not the best team. They're going to probably bring in... I feel like Scizor's their very obvious play here, and I don't have a great line into it because my team kind of just has to let it get off damage, unfortunately. They're going to bring in Scizor, yeah, okay, that's fine. They had a pretty free Bug Bite or Pounce into my team, and there's not a lot I could do. Just to be safe, I'm going to go for an Ally Switch here, and then I'm going to also switch out Harden to Emboar. It's kind of an almost unnecessary play, but I think it's my best one, and I just need to hope for no, like, dual Wing Beat bullshit. They're definitely going for a U-turn or, like, a Bug Bite or some combination like that, and I feel like it's into the Farig spot, because Farig is kind of stopping them from being able to fire off more attacks later on, and it's also my Trick Room setter. Yeah, they're going for Helping Hand here. I'm just going to hope. I'm going to really hope that I made this call right, because if Emboar is to take a Bug move, I'm very fine with that. But if, like, Farig is to take it, I'm not looking forward to it. They're going to for X-Scissor into Emboar. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that is nothing. Perfect. Okay. I'm very fine with this, because even if Farig has to go for it now, this is very okay. Crash is going to go off into Scizor, and that will be a very strong hit. Meanwhile, I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam here, just to get off some good damage. This Screamtail will thankfully always go after, so it's not like he can Encore or disable me. And if it really goes for it with the Dazzling Gleam, I'm kind of fine with that. I just need it for mostly just to get off some good damage, I guess, or to like maybe break a really random Focus Sash that could kind of exist, but it's a really random one for that. They're going to Baton Pass. Okay, so they're Baton Passing the Howl out. Probably into Dragonite. I feel like it's into Dragonite, and I'm kind of okay with that as well, because they've now not disabled my Dazzling Gleam here. This was, to be fair, the only way they were going to get a Howl Baton Pass off, but I'm kind of fine with this still. Wild Charge will be a nice way to at least break through the Dragonite, and we still have enough pieces in the back to hopefully wear this down. We can break Multiscale if it has Multiscale too, which is great, and they cannot safely lock E-Speed, which is huge for us. Because if they are Bandit Dragonite, then I'm now stopping them from locking a priority move in general, because they have no reliable way to break through my team. My best play is to definitely go for the Wild Charge here into Dragonite, and then go for Dazzling Gleam. Emboar is going to take a lot of damage, but I think it's kind of okay. They're going to go for Helping Hand here, which should be really good to boost something like an Outrage. But regardless, they still have to take a Dazzling Gleam, which that looks like multi-scale damage. I know we're not that offensive, but it looks like multi-scale damage. This Iron Head thankfully did not deal a lot, but we do know that their Dragonite is now probably a 0 speed set because they underpaced Emboar, which is meant to specifically creep anything that would be creeping, like, I don't know, like the POW sort of benchmarks. And the Dragonite outpaced it, which means that it is a very, like, low-speed Dragonite. All of this is fine, though. Gleam should be able to hopefully pick this off with Wild Charge next turn. If they're going to go for a move into me, I'm kind of fine with that. They're going for Protect. Really interesting play. It's good that they have it, actually. This means they're not choice, which is a huge information reveal right here. It actually makes a lot of sense in this kind of team. Going for, like, a Protect sort of shenaniganry. But their Screamtail is Howl Baton Pass. Howl Baton Pass. I forget the other moves that it has. Helping Hand, and then they're gonna go for Howl again. Okay, so they're trying to really boost up that Dragonite damage. I'm kind of okay with this. They thankfully will still take a lot of damage from my Champ POW here, and I can still afford to scout around that, so it's not a huge concern. They are probably gonna be multi-scale Dragonite though, so again, very okay with this. Just to be safe, I am gonna go for a Wild Charge here. A Wild Charge into a Trick Room this turn. Actually, I'm just gonna go for Wild Charge into Psychic Noise and just try and get off some disruption here. If they go for Encore, I'm okay with that. If they go for Disable, this at least gets around the Disable play. So this all should hopefully benefit me greatly. They're gonna Terra the Dragonite, which is huge because I really thought they were gonna save that for POW, but they do in fact end up being Terra Normal. Now they cannot go for E-Speed. They're probably doing this more so to, I guess, limit the damage from, I don't know, Dazzling Gleam. But I'm kind of fine with that because I went for Psychic Noise, so this works out well. Wild Charge will go off because we do outpace them, And then they're going to have to take a Psychic Noise, which means that at least their Dragonite is now trading, which is huge. Never mind, they're going to go for Farig, which is actually, that's also huge. That's very huge, if anything. Because at this point, I now have Chiampao on the field. And Chiampao actually can deal a lot of damage at this point. They do have the Howl boost, sure, but I have a Sash Chiampao, so I can get a free Sacred Sword off. And the combination of Sacred Sword plus Heat Crash will be able to deal a ton of damage here. They guarantee cannot kill my Chiampao, which is fine. I'm very okay with that. They're going to go for Protect here, which means that they're probably trying to use this turn to Sash Break, which I'm fine with, because I at least use my Emboar to punish the Scream Tail. So this works out well for me. I do still also have my... Okay, yeah, so they're going to go for Play Rough here. Now, Play Rough doesn't even actually bring us down to our Sash, which is kind of funny. But thankfully on the following turn, I can afford to just go for a dual target move right into the Dragonite. So that will probably be the combination of an... Well, no, not a Sucker Punch. It's going to be a Sacred Sword here with a Heat Crash. And that combination should hopefully just take out the Dragonite this turn. If Scream Tail is going to pick off my Pow, so be it. But again, this is still my best play, I would argue. Losing Farig does make this a little bit scarier, though, because I can now E-Speed very freely. But I still think this should be fine. There's not a lot they can do around this. And at bare minimum, we can still pressure the Dragonite pretty well because it cannot kill both my Pokemon at once, unless they have Earthquake, which is targeting their own Scream Tail, which is great for my endgame, because Rillaboom can take that set on very comfortably. But they have Protect and Iron Head. Not really too scared of it. Their last moves are probably Outrage and E-Speed, if I had to guess. Maybe a Flying move instead. Their Aqua Jet. Okay, so Aqua Jet is actually a really terrifying but batshit sort of move to include on this. I really fuck with it, but it is a batshit move to throw on this Pokemon. Thankfully, though, they really valued killing my Emboar, I guess, which is very fine, because now my Rillaboom actually is a guaranteed out, because Rillaboom 100% will always objectively beat the Scream Tail. With their moves that they have, it actually cannot get around on my Glide, which is huge. So even if they do kill my Pow here, I'm fine with that, because we've now gotten to a situation where they cannot beat me with the Scream Tail, because Grassy Glide will just do too much damage to them. So thankfully, Emboar actually did a lot here. It really weakened down the Dragonite into range, and it forced them to respect it. Which, to be fair with the team that they brought, I get why. With specifically the plays that they were making, this was kind of their only out. We know that they do not Protect. They play off Helping Hand, Baton Pass, and Howl. I'm going to Fake Out first just for good measure. I don't think it matters, but I really don't want to fuck around with this thing and lose to like a 6% damage roll. So I'm just going to go for this first because it's a slight increase in damage, which is kind of okay because this is now a +2 attack Scream Tail going for Play Rough. I don't think it'll matter, but like with a crit, maybe it does. Okay, we killed Glide. Perfect. Okay, sweet. So we've now gotten a 1-1 record for the day. We're going to go for one more match just to try and see if we can get another game with the Emboar popping off. It's already done a lot in this match at least, so we're going to try and see if we can at least maybe bring a more unique comp of 4. So I'll see you guys in game number 3. For game number 3, we're actually taking on a Snow team. Now this is pretty interesting actually, since this could be pretty threatening. The A9 in particular does offer a lot in terms of making the Baxcalibur a lot more threatening, and there's a lot of defensive Teras on Baxcalibur that could actually pose a threat to Pokemon like Emboar. Thankfully though, it's Snow, which I somehow got the blessing to roll with this type of team, so we're going to rock with it. This is actually a great Murkrow matchup as well, and it should hopefully help us a lot with exploiting their team as quickly as possible. So we're going to go with the Emboar and Murkrow lead. I'm going to go with a... Let's see, so for our next option, I think we go with probably Rillaboom in the back. It's a decent revenge to bundle as well as Slowking, and they don't really have great anti-priority. And then I think that my final mon will probably be Pow again. I don't really need D-Knight this game. D-Knight is objectively forced to Tera, and this is a really huge Stellar Emboar matchup because of the fact they're bringing Snow. So I'm very fine with this. Good luck and fun to my opponent though. This is definitely a kind of scary matchup because again, the Baxcalibur with Tera could just kind of farm with Glaive Rush if it has a good defensive type around Emboar. I don't have a lot to deal with that. However, I feel like that with the Tera plus the Tailwind immediately, I can just get around the A9 before it can fail, and that should hopefully help a lot. If they're Sash, then my opponent did well at getting around this, but I don't think it really matters. We're going to go for the Heat Crash, though, and I'm going to go for my Stellar. Am I going to go for Stellar immediately? Does it actually matter against A9? I have a little bit of time to check that. I'm kind of curious, though, because, I mean, Ninetales is a fairly bulky Snow Setter. Without Tera, ooh, that's a kind of grim roll. I'm going to go for it. If they Tera the A9, then so be it. That's fine if they're going to really go for that just to guarantee they get up the turn. But it does not look like they did. So they would have to be Focus Sash, though, in order to kill here. which is great because we've now went for our Stellar Tera. This is 134% minimum. So even if this is like a really defensive A9, it cannot take the hit anymore. But there were a lot of spreads. Like, for example, the default damage calc one is 220 HP and 20 Fizz Def, and that was sitting at a mineral of exactly 100%. And I know that A9 does run bulkier than that. Objectively speaking, it goes way bulkier than that. Thankfully, they're not Focus Sash, though. We've now forced them to give up Veil. And on top of this, well, their Max Caliber is now going to be kind of fucked because it has to take a lot of really strong hits. They targeted my Murkrow, thankfully, and because they have Icicle Spear, I'm inclined to believe their Loaded Dice set. Which Loaded Dice typically has a lot different Teras than AV. AV will go for mostly like a Tera Poison. Loaded Dice typically goes more for like Fire and Ground, so that's good to note information-wise here. I'm going to bring in Rillaboom because if they're not Tera Poison, they actually no. I'm going to go for Rillaboom because if they're not Tera Poison, I can actually get a lot out of this turn. Not only this, but I can probably just fake out immediately into backs just to avoid any sort of bad scenario here. And then, meanwhile, yeah, the bundle is up here. Perfect. Okay, so bundle I'm very fine with because we have an AV on our on our Emboar, which means that this bundle is probably not going to kill us. Their Quark Drive boosts your speed as well. I typed in Quark Drive into Calc. That is not the set that I am fighting. We are Assault Vest, and we have some considerable bulk into our Emboar as well. 104. Okay, so let's see how that does. And then, yep, in 4 Speed F. So this is a roll, to be fair, for bundle to kill, but I kind of should bank on it. We're going to go for Fake Out here, and I'm going to go for Drain Punch here. Their booster speed's a bundle will outpace. It has to hit a Hydro Pump, though, and it also has to get a good damage roll. They're actually going to swap, which is an interesting play to be making now, but they're probably doing it to stall around Tailwind, which is fair. However, they now need to take unnecessary damage on the Glaceon here, which is great for us. Because Glaceon could have, in theory, also been a really good defensive Tera for them, that they now no longer have. Also, they've given up their speed boost on the Iron Bundle, which means I can just revenge that now with Emboar, which is huge. Because Stellar with Wild Charge also guarantees a kill into that. Actually, no, not with Snow. With Snow, actually, this can take the hit. And that's something I kind of overlooked. Drain Punch, to be fair, could have rolled bundle, but this is probably a very bulky Iron Bundle. I do need to dual target it. Yeah, we're gonna go for Grassy Glide. I'm actually gonna go for Woodhammer. I can afford Woodhammer. And I think Woodhammer will actually manage the kill here. Rillaboom, yeah, so Woodhammer with the Snow up, that should kill. That should definitely kill, actually. Perfect, okay. So then, yeah, we're gonna go for the Woodhammer here into the Iron Bundle. And then I'm gonna go for a Drain Punch here into the box. I know we've lost our Stellar Boost on this. I'm kind of fine with it, though, because it's still gonna be a nice high damage hit. Woodhammer kills, that's perfect. Okay, so Bax should struggle to beat this endgame. I will claim a kill on Rillaboom, that's for sure. I don't think it dies to the Drain Punch either, since we no longer have Stellar and we don't have a damage boosting item. But yeah, that's still half right there, and Bax is not going to kill unless it goes for Glaive Rush. Goes for Spear, that's fine. I'm really okay with trading Rillaboom here. Now I do kind of want Emboar to get the last kill. I would be very passionate about Emboar getting the last kill here. So I am going to bring in my final Mon, which is, of course, Chimpao. And I'm going to just go for Protect. I think it's funnier if Emboar gets the final kill, as this is our thumbnail Mon. For anyone who I guess who's new to the channel, I usually do like going for this. If we can't go for it, I mean, Pao will still guarantee win the game, so it's not like we're farming for like any sort of losing scenario here. Even a DD box will, in theory, still lose the match. So we're just going to go for a Drain Punch yet again. Eventually, they'll run out of Snow, and they're going to forfeit anyway. Okay, perfect. Headcanon says that Emboar won the game for us. Even still, Emboar put up a great showing here, and hopefully you guys managed to enjoy the video. If you want to try the team out yourselves, again, it's going to be in the team builder section as well as in the description below, so make sure you guys check that out, as well as when you're on your way down there, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We upload nice daily VGC content, and let me just say our next few teams are insane. I know I mentioned in the last video that we had a Pokemon that was one of the worst Pokemon I featured. I actually had someone else choose the order of the 5 teams in our batch 1 of Rhino codes that we're going over, which means that this Pokemon is actually saved for our 3rd video. So this video will be going up on Saturday. That video will most likely go up on Monday. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure you subscribe. We do have a couple teams in the meantime, one of which is actually a lot more normal compared to this one. It's not standard, but it is a lot more normal at the very least. So hopefully you look forward to that as well. And also consider becoming a channel member. We have some nice content that's going up for channel members this month. There should be a poll up already, actually, by the time this video went live. It should have went up on Friday, if I remembered. If not, harass me about it. Where we're going to have some nice potential content for you guys to vote on. Our current channel members, though, who, again, just a couple dollars a month get bonus content, are Zeke Zero, Mia, Raw Sakura, Obo, Endless Gadgets, Josh K Ultra Player, Incog M, and our bigger fan Vincent Wee. Shoutouts to all of you guys. Really appreciate the support. With that said though, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Until then, peace out guys.